Howie Chaney, Randall Cunningham, join you. Of course, you've been missing It's Still Real the last couple of weeks, and Howie, you can thank me for that. Broken bone in the shoulder. I am on the DL.
It's not just you, man. It's been a rough couple of weeks for both of us.
Yeah, and Jeremy's been working nights.
Right.
So, and it's WrestleMania season, so we thought it was best we at least get this WrestleMania preview. And there wasn't a time, to be honest, that Jeremy, you, and I could all work out to get on. We're going to get back to our normal Thursday night, but it's really been kind of, and to be honest, I haven't want to do a show with a broken shoulder. I mean, I am a little DL'd, but I'm excited. I'm excited as can be for tonight, Howie. What's your level of excitement for WrestleMania?
I call this the Super Bowl of wrestling, but for this year, it's really exciting to be able to get to this because there's so many storylines. In the past, it's always just been one main event, one storyline, and just a bunch of other matches. But now this year, my goodness, they've got so many different storylines and matches that could be a main event of any other pay-per-view that they have.
Howie, I'm going to run something by you. We're going to talk about this. It's going to come up more than once. Last night, Paul Heyman on his Hall of Fame story made a point to say the first Hall of Fame class selected by Paul Levesque, Triple H. Is it fair to say first WrestleMania booked entirely by Paul Levesque, Triple H?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because in the past, Vince has always had his fingers on it, but he's out of the picture from everything that I've read and all the other podcasts I've heard. Vince is totally out of it. He has no say, no nothing. They're kind of trying to take his name out of everything as well.
Of course, this show is brought to you by RiverCity-Media, the host of the weekly wrestling show. It's real, still real to me. Showing right now our brand new logo, what we call the Gotham logo, and Howie, I filed trademark on it. So I guess it's our official logo now.
That's nice. Is that the downtown Hickson that you're showing?
Something like that. Something like that.
No,
Of course, let's
really
get.
nice. It's a really nice logo, Randy.
I love it. I love it. Let's get talking a little bit about. We talked a little bit about Triple H. Before we go into the WrestleMania, let me ask you one question. You watched some of the Hall of Fame last night. I watched some of it. I thought Paul Heyman hit a home run.
Yeah, from what little I watched of it, and then all the clips and excerpts and inserts that I saw on Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it, he put on a show last night.
He there even he left out whole segments of his career too. AWA with the new Midnight Express, then back to the NWA with the new Midnight Express, which was probably the best feud happening until Jim Herd and Jim Cornette had their falling out, and that just kind of died, and they ran Randy Rhodes off. He talked about the Dangerous Alliance. I wish one time he would have said who all was in the Dangerous Alliance. I know, but it starts with Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rick Rude. I mean, it was as elite as the Horsemen, in my opinion.
Oh, it was, and Heyman, you knew that he was going to do a great speech. He's going to put on a great show because he is one of, if not the best people to be on a microphone, and his reactions and his facial reactions and everything else that he does his whole career is second to none.
A good talk about ECW and how ECW still lives, and about reinventing himself. And I think that was the message. One touching moment when he talked to his kids. I didn't know Heyman had kids, but real parently advice to his children from the stage. I thought it was a real good home run. The other thing I will mention, and I've not made it through all of it, but I've made it through the majority of it. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. Um, we forget how big of impact those two gentlemen had on the world of pro wrestling outside of U.S. Express.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Howie.
yeah, no, U.S. Express kind of put them on the map, and then they just kind of flourished from there. And Rotunda IRS, however you actually remember him, uh, yeah, he's had some good gimmicks, but he was a good worker as well.
Yeah, and and, uh, and I'm a mark for Barry Windham. I think if you outside of Bobby Eaton and WCW and WA days, Barry Windham was the best worker. I still contend the best match I've ever seen in person. Barry Windham, Ric Flair versus the Midnight Express, Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. And the most of the match was work with Bobby and Barry, and it was just beyond good, just
Right.
perfect. At the end, though, real touching moment, and then we'll move on. You could tell both of them are aging in their 70s. Um, Barry, Barry, you had seen when the Horsemen had been inducted. That may be the first time I've seen Mike Rotunda publicly since the funeral of Wyndham Rotunda, aka Barry White, Bray Wyatt. At the very end, Howie, they hold up their cell phones and cut all the lights off, and it's just a Firefly convention. And I'll admit, tears strung from my eyes. Bo Dallas, as his own self, Taylor Redunda, and Micah Rotunda introduced them. Um, I think it was too soon for Bray Wyatt to get in, but I think it was a nice tribute to just be able to mention him as his father and his uncle went in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it's too soon for that to happen for him to get in there. But Bray Wyatt, he changed wrestling for the 21st century. He changed the way that people's going to look at it and the way that they will do it.
You know what I admire about Bray Wyatt? He took shots. Some of them were horrible, but he took creative shots that were different than everybody else. Um, I loved some of his kind of scripted matches off site. But like the one where he wrestled Xena, I think it was, and the canvas was uh, video bugged and was changing. It was brilliant and it was horrible, but he took shots. He really took creative chances.
And give him credit for nobody else has really been able to do this, but he convinced a stubborn old Vince McMahon to do some of this stuff because nobody else has been able to get him to do it, and he
Yeah,
did.
yes, absolutely. Yes, and last thing I'll say is I don't know if they ever do it, but with Taylor Rotunda still available, Bo Dallas, Uncle Howie, Howdy, um, be nice to do some kind of wrap up to the storyline if possible. If possible.
Yeah, I don't see why not because they got Bo Dallas there. Alexa Bliss is still under contract with them. I know it's not going to be the same without Bray being there, but they got to, they've got the core there to be able to finish it up and make it a nice send off, I guess you can say.
And as silly as it sounds, they have the Firehouse Fun Flies or whatever they call them. That's so much of that character. You could still have Porcus the Pig and Sister Abigail, and kind of write an ending to that story.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man, let's jump over to WrestleMania 40 again. And I want to thank everybody for all the thoughts and prayers. I've had several people um, text me, Howie, and say, Randall, we heard you were hurt because you're filling in on Beyond the Booth right now. And y'all got a big guest this Friday or Monday. I'm having my surgery on Tuesday, so I'll be able to listen. But Robbie Coker from Fort Payne is going to be on, so that'll be a big show. Um, let's get to WrestleMania, though. First match, night one, is rumored, and we're going to say all this is rumored, but then multiple sites kind of reported it, is they're going to kick it off with Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. First of all, what do you think of that as a kickoff, and what do you expect from that?
Well, you're saying it's rumored. The match is set. It's just the order we're not 100% sure of.
Yes.
But you know, Rhea against Becky's going to be a great match. But geez, you got to put it on first. If it's going to be on night one, it's got to be the first match because the crowd is going to be hyped up for the main event. So get them out there, let them get the crowd even more buzzed up for the show, and watch Rhea retain her title and keep on going with possibly the Judgment Day, or they may end up having a little split there after this WrestleMania, but we'll find out. But it's going to be a great match, and I'm looking forward to it. Anytime Becky is in a match, Becky Lynch is in a match, it's going to be a great match. But I think they're going to let Rhea keep on going because, holy cow, she is a huge, huge fan favorite at the moment.
Well, Howie, in making this card, there's only one other match you could open with, in my opinion. The only other match you could move, and we'll talk about it later, would be Sami and Gunther to that spot because, folks, you build the card, opening match. Chris Jericho's talked about it many, many times. Opening match at WrestleMania is probably the second most important spot to the main event of that night. So that's a real prime time spot, and I like that spot because especially on night one, I think the rest of the card till we get into it is kind of blah, not blah, but it's kind of getting some
Yeah,
people paychecks.
yeah, but this Becky and Rhea, if it wasn't WrestleMania, it could be the main event of any other PLE they have.
It could have been a main event of one of the other WrestleManias where you had Charlotte versus Becky as the main event. This is equal. So,
Right.
do you want to throw predictions out or hold tight?
I already did. I think Rhea's going to hold on. I think they're going to let her hold on to it just because she's supposed to be a heel, but holy cow, the crowd is treating her like a face.
And I don't know that it's a long title run, but I think they may let Becky sneak in and win this one, take the title for a couple of months off of her, and then put it right back on. But you're right. Rhea is maybe the most over female in the WWE. To me, she's more over than Charlotte now.
Oh, definitely, absolutely. Because this guy here, especially the last month, you can't look at a WWE show or social media or something without Rhea being all over it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Howie's going to pick Rhea Ripley to retain, and I'll take Becky Lynch to win in the title. When I say this, the title goes back to Rhea because I don't think you can. Somehow Rhea will leave with her heat tonight, and I don't know how that is, but she will leave with it. The six pack tag team championship. Now it's just rumored, but I want to get it out there that Grayson Waller and Austin Theory may be removed from this match. I don't know what the reasons is. I just read it on one of the wrestling boards a few minutes before we got online. But as the schedule is now, it is DIY, Awesome Truth, New Day, New Catch Republic, Theory and Waller, and did I already say New Day?
You did.
So Judgment Day. So who do you like in there?
You know, Grayson Waller was all over SmackDown last night. I don't know if he was able to see it or not, but he was at the beginning, he was in the middle, he was at the end. He was, they were all over the place. Him and I can't think of those guys.
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. They were all over the place on SmackDown last night. And, there's rumblings and rumors that there may be another tag match or tag team that joins in on this as well. That just contract just ended at TNA is Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, there's also some rumors, and I think I don't know that their contracts ended, but I know Matt Hardy's has. I don't know that Jeff has. That's been out there a little bit too.
Absolutely. So this could be a twist on a twist on a twist here with more teams entering in. But I've mentioned this several times on here. I'm not big on tag teams. I'm okay with, but now when you get this many people and it been a ladder match and all that, I'm not a big fan of it. But this is a little bit more intriguing because not only when you're not just going for one title, you're going for both of them.
Yeah.
So are they going to? I'm sure they're going to split the belts up, but you could actually see one tag team win both belts.
So let me throw a couple of things out. Big E last night on the Hall of Fame with New Day for the first time in forever. Do you think we could have a Big E sighting, and do you think he could possibly turn heel?
Yeah, it's very possible, but I don't think so because, well, come to think about it, this would be the perfect time because he's been away for so long. It would be a perfect time for them to let him do that.
If you want to give Big E a singles run, right now is the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if he's able to do that because of his injuries and everything.
Um, Judgment Day. That's a couple of really big names in this match.
Yeah,
You could let them just kind of clear and run the match if you wanted to.
yeah, you could, but I think this is where they're going to drop the belts because I think they got big plans for Damian Priest and his Money in the Bank.
DIY to the smaller NXT kind of superstars, and but I'm telling you right now, what may be the most popular win, though babies in the air, would be for the Miz and R-Truth to win this match.
That's right. You left them out a while ago, so I forgot about them being in there.
I,
Uh,
awesome truth. That's what they're calling themselves.
right, yeah, um, yeah. That would be huge right there with R-Truth being over like he is right now.
You know, yeah, if you remember when I know him by Matt Condera, Zack Ryder, they let him have the Intercontinental title for one day off a ladder match at WrestleMania, and huge pop. You could do the same thing here with Miz and R-Truth, and just it would be, especially with R-Truth, it'd be a huge pop.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's over right now and is a huge fan favorite. I know we say that about a lot of people, but right now, R-Truth is one of the biggest fan favorites out there.
All right, your prediction then for the match?
I'm going with Awesome Truth to win the Raw tag titles, and I'm going with Judgment Day to hold on to the SmackDown titles.
Hmm. I think we might just totally agree on that. I do see a scenario where they could put a title on Theory and Waller if they're there. So that I think we're pretty close on that one. Next match, Rey Mysterio versus Andretti versus Dom versus Santos Escobar. Uh, by the way, me as kind of a New Japan CML guy, this is a lot of CML talent in the ring at a WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is, and you gave the participants in this match. Dragon Lee, quote unquote, got hurt at SmackDown last night, which I don't know if it's a work or if it's legit or whatever. But he was replaced with Andrade, and so I think there's going to be a lot to come out of this match, not only with the LWO. I think Carlito may turn. We discussed a little bit earlier.
That look was
Started.
that look was of a soon. I mean, come on, folks, we know what it is, but that look, it was an intentional look Carlito gave Rey Mysterio.
Absolutely. So we could see a turn right there, and then also we could also see where Dom may be getting pushed away from Judgment Day as well.
If there's a spot to turn Dom, it might be here. And you know what? Dom has a hell of a future, Howie. People
Yeah,
hate him. He's got a future.
he does. He absolutely does. And the reason I say that this could be the time for them to push him away is because of he's been going out on his own and doing things without the approval of the other Judgment Day members.
Absolutely. All right. Prediction on this match. We won't stay here long. I am glad to see Andrade back. A guy who never fit in AEW. Let's just be honest. He never fit AEW.
No, he did not. My prediction is going to be Ray and Andrade winning.
Two swerves. A couple of swerves in this one, I think.
Yep.
So, next match. And I think this is a match that could steal the show. There's a couple of these I'm going to talk about. But brother versus brother, Jimmy versus Jey.
So you're basically asking, am I eat or no eat?
Yeah, that's yep.
I'm main event. I'm eat all the way, man.
I think Jey has done a remarkable job. I think Jimmy has done a remarkable job. But I think the way they have it set right now is the way it needed to go. That personality is really shining as part of that kind of faction with Cody and Seth Rollins, kind of that leaderboard of the Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it could be a show stealer. You kind of hinted at that earlier, but it could be a show stealer. Could be end up being one of, if not the best match of the night. And I think it's going to be Jey. I think all the way.
Well, in the placement, you got Becky and Rhea will probably go a half hour, 20 minutes. Six pack judgment will go a while. And then you got Andre and Ray. And I don't look for that to go long. I look for there to be some changes, twists, but I don't look for that to go long. Then you got Jimmy and Jey. And then on the other side, you've got Jade, Bianca, Naomi, and Damage Control. So I think we're in the lull of the show, and this might be their attempt to pick it up a little bit. Thank you for all everybody watching us. Huge turnout tonight or today for a Saturday show. Howie, these numbers, we got 20 people in the room watching us right now. Thank you very much.
Awesome. That sounds good. And to let everybody know, Randy's on the IR. I'm sitting in downtown Jacksonville, Alabama right now. My daughter's got a band symposium. And so if you hear a lot of music here shortly, it's because they've come off a lunch break, and I'll try to make it as quiet as possible.
And JJ's working night shift right now at Coca Cola. So we're kind of all out of whack.
Yep, absolutely. So
Jimmy, though, before we go, we've said it could be a show stealer, and I think it could. Let's pick a winner.
Yeet.
All right. And I get the names mixed up. I think Yeet is Jey, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Jey. Main event Jey Uso.
Yeah. I think you leave Jey on. I think you leave the direction. I think this match goes 25, 30 minutes, though. I think they give them time to tell the story here.
I think this one here, one or two matches is going to go all over the place, and
Yeah.
I don't mean as far as I mean all over the Lincoln Financial Field. It's either going to be this one or the main event.
Well, here's the thing about it. There's not as many matches each night, Howie. They're not trying to put 10 matches in. The first night has two, six, eight, eight matches. So you've got some time to let people work. Maybe 9 matches, but one of them is kind of a mixed tag team thing.
But
Uh,
they're going to be all over that. You're liable to see them in the Eagles locker room. Uh, one of the two matches, either this one here or the main event, they're going to be in the Eagles locker room. They're going to be, they're going to be everywhere. They're going to be up on the stage. They're going to be out in the crowd. But one of these two matches will be everywhere. And if I had to guess, it's going to be this one here because I
yeah,
don't think they want Rock or Roman mingling out with the crowd.
yeah, I would think. I'm going to go J2. Let's move on to Jade, who they are trying so hard to get over. Really, we just saw this match Jade, Bianca, Naomi versus Damage Control. Now, we didn't see the exact match, but we see Jade come on in the end. It was kind of a squash that lasted less than 5 minutes. Do we get the same thing? Do we get just like putting the crown on Jade and making her real and make her the star of this?
Yeah, this will be her first official match in WWE, unless you want to count the Royal Rumble when she entered it. But as far as the actual match, this will be her first official one. The match he was talking about wasn't really a match; it's just people running in, and she didn't technically run in. Well, she did run in, but she walked in, if that makes sense. But it's going to be it, I think it's not going to be a very long match because I think with it being her debut, she's got to go in there and just control the whole thing.
Yep. So you're going to go with
Yeah, I'm going with the
Jade,
uh,
Bianca, Naomi.
Bianca, Jade, and Naomi.
All right, I will too. Next match, which I want to take some time with, I think's had a marvelously build up. I think it's the best build up other than the main event. Chad Gable, just pure gold. We don't appreciate how good Chad Gable is in the ring or on the mic. I think him working with Sami has really made this my favorite angle, other than the main event. You get the monster and Gunther versus the everybody's underdog, Sami Zayn, in the co-main event for the United States Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, it's you know if you like old school wrestling from the 70s and 80s, this is going to be the match for you because it's not going to be a whole lot of high flying going on. It's going to be a lot of Gunther chops and a lot of Sami Zayn putting moves on and holds on Gunther. And it's going to be a classic. And and I'm not even going to say it's going to steal the show because I expect it to be good. If you
Yeah.
expect something, you're not really stealing nothing. So I think it's going to be good. And I feel like that they're going to give Gunther some time off. And I think they're going to let Sami have the Intercontinental title.
Well, I think Gunther's got to move to the World Heavyweight Championship chase. There's really, whatever they do in the main event, they've got to be contenders, and there's um, not a lot of contenders right now. Uh, we got someone watching from Maui, uh, Howie, uh, Malawi. So that's impressive. Thank you, Luca, for joining us. Um, I think you got to move Gunter over to that world title um, picture. So I could logically see huge pop, babies in the air. We've had a couple of huge pops. I fully believe the next event is going to set an ending of the night that's not going to be pleasant. So if you're going to get something positive out of the first night of WrestleMania, I think it's Sami Zayn over Gunther.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I said I think they're going to give Gunther some time off is him and his wife just had a baby.
Yeah,
And if you lose to Sami Zayn here, you can't jump right in and say, "Hey, I want a title shot for the heavyweight title," because you just lost. So I think they're going to give him a little time off and then bring him back in and go after whoever wins the belts or whoever has them at the time.
6 months from now, we'll never remember who he lost to at WrestleMania anyway.
Well, the way my memory is, this time next week, I probably won't remember.
All right, finally, night one, main event. Seth freaking Rollins, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, versus the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and the final answer, The Rock. Tag team match to set the rules for night two. Howie, let me just make one statement, then I want to hear your opinion. I don't think you can win night one and two. I don't I don't see this making logical sense. Um, so if you win night one, then I'm gonna like Cody to go over Roman. But if you, I don't know how you put Rock under either in this situation.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be a typical bloodline match where you're going to have some interference going on.
Yep.
But I do feel like that it's going to be the bloodline winning tonight because the final boss is not going to lose in his possibly one match of the year in his first match. And do you know how long it's been since The Rock's had a match?
Oh, several years.
Yeah. So, and him being on the board of directors and everything else, and so I'm looking at it where it's going to be a good match. But I feel like that the Bloodline is going to win tonight to set up something even bigger for tomorrow night.
The only announced or rumored guest is Jason Kelsey. Do you see him getting involved in this match or any of the big main events? I think he'll get involved in something. I just don't see it here.
Yeah, he will get involved in something, but it won't be. This in here is for those four guys, and, and I say it's for the four guys. It's mainly for one guy. It's for The Rock, and I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think they're going to bring somebody in like a Jason Kelsey to do something. I feel like if it's going to be anybody, somebody from the bloodline is going to come in and do something possibly. But this is for The Rock, and The Rock will get the pin on Cody.
I think so. What do you think of what the WWE? People can say, "Oh, this was meant to be." This was meant to be Rock versus Roman, and at the last moment, they called an audible, and it's the greatest audible in WWE history since they stuck Daniel Bryan into the main event of WrestleMania with Triple H, and I can't remember who the other person was. Um, what do you think they did coming up with this plan?
Yeah, I agree with you. It was going to be Rock versus Roman, but then when The Rock came out and got booed like he did, I guess it made them realize, hey, we got something possibly even better going on here. So let's don't change it, or let's change it to where Cody still has the chance to finish the story. And a lot of people's not happy with The Rock being the heel like he is, but he man, he's so good at it. He's so good at it. And
Majority of his career was as it was as a heel good guy. I mean, three WrestleManias, Stone Cold versus Rock, and I'm sorry, whichever side you were on, the other guy was the heel, and the guy you liked was the face. I can tell you, I rooted for Stone Cold in all three.
yeah, on those three there, you could get a coin and flip and say heads or tails as far as which one's heel, which one's face, and you couldn't be wrong either way.
All
And
right, night one. What do you call that? Let's rate it one through 10, or do you want to do A through B? A B C D E F. What do you want to do there?
uh, I think looking at the card and seeing what's going on or the potential what could go on, it's this is going to end up being a B show, I think.
Yeah, I was actually a little lower than you. I gave it a B minus. Now at the top, you can't ask for better. But that whole middle card, just the 6 pack challenge, there. I'll put it this way: we always talk about, and I always talk about what where Randall's commercial breaks come. In other words, I go to the bathroom, make popcorn. I'll watch Rhea versus Becky. I probably won't come back till Jimmy and Jay, because frankly, this is 2 days of 14 hours of wrestling. I can't do it always. And then, of course, I will be there for Gunner versus Sami and Cody versus Seth, or Cody and Seth versus Roman. So I could see me missing half the show tonight.
That might be your nap break.
Yeah, yeah. But now the next night, I don't know if I've got a break. Um, let's kick off night 2 with Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. That's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, it really is because one, both of them can really work. Two, I think there's some legit heat there, which is probably not, but I feel like they're putting it over so much where I think there's legit heat there. Three, don't really know what the status of Drew McIntyre's contract is.
True. He was rumored to AEW just a month ago.
Right. And then the fourth and major one, which you're not going to like, what part will CM Punk play in this?
Hey, look, I don't have. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. Last night, Paul Heyman praised him to no end. CM Punk's where he needs to be in the WWE, and he'll be there until he pisses somebody off. Without Vince around, he may stay there. But what role will CM Punk play? Because I'm going to tell you where he said at the WrestleMania or the induction, front row and very public. So I think he will make appearance. I already have wrote down beside this. It doesn't end without a run in. If that's CM Punk or one of these special guests we always get, this is the perfect spot for
See,
a dusty finish.
CM Punk is actually on the broadcast for that match as well.
Yeah.
So that's it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up. But not knowing for sure, here's what I'll say: if I knew that Drew McIntyre has signed a long term deal with WWE, I say he will win. But not knowing for sure, they're not going to give it to Drew, not knowing if he's a couple weeks from now that he could end up at AEW holding up the title belt, pulling another Medusa and throwing it in the garbage.
I think Drew signed the contract. I think it's been a good job by the WWE to keep it quiet, but I think Drew is signed. And I don't think you leave there without Drew with the title.
It'll be interesting to see.
Your prediction?
Not knowing what Drew contract is, I got to go with Seth Rollins.
And I'll go with Drew McIntyre.
And then I think it's going to be. I just thought of something. I want to change that. I want to say that Drew is going to beat Seth, and then the Money in the Bank gets cashed in by. My mind's going blank.
I want to say Punishment Martinez, but that's his indie. Yeah,
You know who I'm talking about.
yeah. A guy,
Senior Money in the Bank will cash it in on McIntyre and win the title.
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. Thank you in the chat, whoever put that up.
Yeah. All right. I can see that. I think this is a big swerve coming. This is the Mike Graham, Dusty Rhodes, all over the place swerve here. Next match, I am mildly interested in because one, I think you have possibility for a good faction here in APO and Karrion Kross. versus Bobby and the Street Profits. Of course, APO and Karrion Cross, the final testament, managed by Precious Paul Eldring. Um, Street Profits, anybody that writes for the dirt sheets will tell you that the Street Profits are the next superstars in the WWE. I think it's a matchup of a. The APO might not be the best workers, but they're huge and they have Paul Ellering. And Killer Cross, or Karrion Cross, I'm sorry, is just great. But I think Bobby and the Street Profits may get this one, Howie.
Let's go ahead and say it. A lot of people on here may not know that, but or know this, but you're a huge Paul Ellering fan.
I love Paul Ellering.
So
So I will I will be glued to the TV just to see Precious Paul in a WrestleMania, which I don't know. I know he appeared in one that was with the Road Warriors before he was put out of the WWE, but I don't think this is more than his second appearance in a WrestleMania.
right. So to get back to the match, I feel like that the Street Profits will win this match.
I have that feeling too. I'm not burying this APO Karrion Cross. Just makes a lot of sense. You've got that faction makes a lot of sense. I think you come out. This is not going to be a match that breaks or makes either one of these guys, either one of these factions.
The, I'm going to put an if out there. If the Street Profits don't win, I see them breaking them up.
Yeah, yeah. And there's, I'm telling anyone to listen right now though, Karrion Cross is the best WWE talent that they've never figured out anything to do with. So I really they've got at some point figuring Karrion Cross out. Next match I think has potential of being a very good match. Dummy, uh, a salute to his old character form. AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Of course, his famous dummy promos in TNA. Um, this feels like a very put together WrestleMania match, but they did give it a little build up and tell a little storyline.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it. I think it was yesterday where they got into it at the WrestleCom or whatever it was, and had to be broken apart. Them two, and so it's and both these guys can work. They're both good workers.
Both of them in their 40s, both of them been in the business 20 years. It's going to be a good match.
It's going to be good, and I think this is one where they still got. I still think they got a glimmer of hope of pushing LA Knight. Yeah, so I feel like it's going to be LA Knight's going to win this one.
I would tend to agree with you. AJ is now in a role where he's kind of that support talent. And, of course, 2 years from now, they could put the WWE title on him again. He's had his run at the top, and they're kind of cooling him off a little bit. Um, Next match, let's get to it before we get to the main event. There's some big matches. I think this one is one that's got the ability to steal the whole show. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship. Uh, Not the best build up, but a decent one. But I don't think you had to have the best build up for this match. You just got three guys can absolutely do things that amaze you.
You're right, and out of all the matches, this is one that I'm just not really looking forward to because you got KO and Randy Orton there. That one of them's going to turn. One of them's going to be turning, and I'm just not really looking forward to it. And whatever happens, whichever one turns is going to help Logan Paul out, and he's going to continue to hold the title. And I don't mind him having the title, but show up every once in a while and defend it. Don't pull a Roman Reigns and show up just for PLEs.
I have wrote down Orton turns, Paul wins. So we're kind of on the same. The in ring will be very good with KO and Orton. And Logan Paul, while he'll pull something that we'll talk about Thursday on the next. It's still real to me. He'll do something that will impress us all.
I read somewhere where Randy Orton himself has said he wants to do something that he's never done before, and he's going to do it this WrestleMania.
Hello, Stephen Martinez. Enjoy you joining us here.
He's going to do some type of move. He's going to do a out of nowhere some type of something that he says pretty high risk, but he wants to do it.
I kind of got a feeling that may be an RKO off the top rope. Somehow catching Logan Paul flying across the ring. So I'm with Steve here. RKO bro is what I miss. I miss bro. One of my favorites, Steve. All right, let's get. We'll finish it up in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Bayley versus Aya Sky and Howie. This has got to be Bayley's moment.
Yeah, Bayley is going to get some help from somebody. Just don't know who, because Io Sky and the Damage Control, they're going to help Io out as much as possible. But I think Bayley's got some backup plans, and it's probably going to be Jade and Bianca and them that's going to come out and help as well. But I agree with you and most of the world that this is Bayley's moment.
What could Charlotte Flair get involved here?
She is ahead of schedule, so yeah, most definitely. I didn't even really think about that, but yeah.
Not a heavily physical role, but like maybe where she caught somebody in the back of the head with a baseball bat. You know, she's very injured, but you can always find some way to swerve it so she can at least get on camera. Or um, I I have a feeling we're going to get a Charlotte Flair sighting here.
She can, like you said, and her injury was the ACL part. So it's just basically all she got to do is just kind of jog down to the ring and throw a couple of haymakers and knock somebody out.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and I think that Jason, I didn't mean to say, I meant to say this. I think that Jason Kelsey appearance might come in that AJ style match. I meant to say that too. Um, LA Knight.
Could, I could really see that happening. Yeah.
All right, we're done. You and I have watched 14 hours of wrestling. We're both sick of it. We get hyped up. I run and make popcorn. I get back just in time to see 9,454 fireworks going off. Uh, Main event, night two. The American Nightmare. My favorite wrestler. Still disagree with him leaving AEW. But my favorite wrestler, Cody Rhodes, versus what has been the last 5 years biggest star in the industry, in Roman Reigns. A lot of talk about what could happen here if we're right. After, of course, the stipulation would be if the bloodline wins, bloodline rules, which means interference. Brock will be ringside. I feel like we're going to see a huge swerve here, man.
I think I think it's set up to where it's going to be bloodline rules, so that means anything goes. And I think it's set up to where Cody will finish the story, but he'll get help from people that we don't really expect.
I have three wrote down. All right. And I'm going to give you my three, and you give me between 1 through 5 whether it's a possibility. The first one I have wrote down is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's a 4 right there. It's possible.
All right. 2 on my list, The Rock.
That's a 2.5 right there.
And three,
That's kind of like a 50-50. It could go either way. I see what you're getting at, and it could very possibly happen.
and three, Dustin Rhodes.
Um, will it happen? I think it's going to be 0. Do I want it to happen? I want it to be a 10.
I think it's more of a possibility than 0. I won't give it a lot, but I'm going to go back to that new WWE. TKO owns WWE. Vince is not involved. Um, Obviously, they're going to put Goldust in the Hall of Fame at some point. I could see Tony Khan signing off on an appearance.
I could have up until all these interviews this week, and then I can see Tony changing his mind.
You mean the hundreds of digs towards the AEW that's been thrown at Cody?
Just all of it together with the CM Punk interview, with the Triple H comments, and everything else. I can see that happening, and it's one of these things where, man, I love to see it happen because, and I think at one point it was probably in the works because you saw a lot of tweets from Dustin Rhodes as well.
You actually saw a promo from Dustin that was very limited, but and I won't say it, but basically he said "F the Rock."
But all that stuff all that stuff has disappeared over the last 2 or 3 days. So I think something may have changed on that. So that's why I say it's 0 chance.
I want to throw one more possibility too out to you. If you want the Rock to leave clean, you have him turn or um, what if the Rock has gotten interested in wrestling again and he don't want this to be his last appearance?
It's it won't be his last appearance. He'll be back, but I've heard and read where he signed on to start a movie like next week or the week after that. So he's got to step away for a little while to do this movie. So when he comes back, it'll have to be at the end of summer. So, but I think Cody will get the story done and finished, and I think that he's going to get help from the only person that may be more popular than him, if you want to say it, put it that way, which I didn't word it right, but anyway, I think he's going to get help from John Cena.
I have him wrote on my list too. And he's not anywhere on the card. And this is the first WrestleMania in a long time. We ain't heard a Xena rumor. We ain't talked about a Xena rumor. There's really nothing happening.
Because he was even on last year's WrestleMania and got squashed by uh,
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory, yeah. Why I cannot think of Austin Theory's name, I don't know why, but anyway. So even I think Cena will be there at some capacity and help Cody out. But I think the story gets done and Cody wins the title.
There is one more person on my list after Xena, and I've asked you about my first three. Now Xena, we've talked about. The rumor is he's not. You again going back to Damian or the Drew McIntyre. We don't know if he's under contract. We don't know that MJF is in contract to the AEW.
Right.
So if the WWE was ever going to make a electrifying debut, what if MJF, who for 2 years they played Cody and MJF was best friends?
Yep.
What if MJF showed up? Who I'm going to say right now is the best interview in the world right now.
If you hear MJF's music tomorrow night at WrestleMania, that place will go ballistic. I would say it'd blow the roof off, but it's outdoors. So, but it's going to it's going to be ballistic if you hear MJF's music playing and he comes down to the ring.
You know, we've done this in the past. This is about the fourth year of us, third year of having River City Media, and we've speculated. And one year we got a lot of run in and surprises, and then one year we got very few. With Triple H taking over, what do you think that does to the odds of getting a huge surprise at this WrestleMania?
I think it's very likely, and I think we may have more than just one. I think it could be several surprises because there's a lot of free agents out there, and some of them's big names, some of them's not. But if you get to thinking about it, WWE don't have a huge roster base, and anybody that comes in would be a good help to them.
And AEW was very effective over the last 6 months to going out and scooping up a whole bunch of the roster base. Now, one name that's out there that has signed with the WWE that yet to see is from the Samoan dynasty, which is Tonga. So there is that floating out there. He has signed with the WWE. New Japan fame, Gorillas of Destiny, son of the great Haku. So he is on the WWE roster and could make a surprise appearance. Another name that I thought could be in for this that AEW that I mean very aggressively got him off the market was Okada. Um, and I think the WWE made a major run at Okada too, but you really couldn't put Okada into that. You can MJF. Um, what time is night one in UK? I only know this because I work for a German company. You are 8 hours ahead. So it starts at 5 Eastern time where I'm at. So you will start at 8 hours ahead. So you will start at 1 a.m. in UK, I believe. 1 a.m. which should be maybe midnight. Maybe you're maybe 1 hour ahead of Germany. But 1 a.m. I believe will be the start time in Germany. Hey, there is an advantage of working for a German company or UK. Um, I don't know, Howie. I somehow I am the ultimate AEW guy. I somehow think MJF may show up.
Another name that could potentially show up, and it's not a wrestler, or he's a former wrestler, but it's part of the Bloodline family. What if the Bloodline is tired of Roman doing everything that he's done, and Rikishi comes out there?
There is as many angles as possible right now. Um, Let me go ahead. We're hitting the hour mark. We were going to cut it off an hour. We have 1 minute remained. Let's go ahead and book it. You first book the final main event Cody versus Roman.
Yeah, it's Cody finishing the story.
Is there a major surprise at the end?
Yes. I don't know what it will be, but yes. Um, me and you have talked about it one time before, and I'll make this quick. We've talked about it one time before, and I told you that the only way that I feel like that Roman will retain the title is if they want to get Hogan's name out of the record book.
Yeah. Now,
But I don't think that, and the only way they would want to do that is because he was associated with Vince. But I don't think that would happen. So I see if the only way that they can keep Roman with the title is if it's major interference. Because if Cody don't win it now, you've lost everything.
uh, so Cody losing pretty much ends that run, I think. What about you?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Unless it's some type of major interference.
I'm going to go ahead And I'm going to say this, and it'll close my side of it out. I don't think we've discussed what is actually going to happen. I think they have a major, major surprise for us. And I wrote down names starting at the bottom of Braun Breaker all the way to the top that I read off to you of people I think could get involved in this match. And I could see them winning bloodline rules, no disqualification, all over this. I could see something straight out of the 1980s NWA Sunday night.
Have a major dusty booking on the night that Cody wins the belt,
Yeah.
finishing the story.
Yep. Yep. All right, Howie. We're going to call it it's a good hour. Got an hour killed in the parking lot in Jacksonville, too. I'm an hour closer to surgery, which we all know I need right now. Thank you, everybody who's checked up on me. Surgery's Tuesday. Howie and Jeremy, for the short time, will be maintaining It's Still Real to Me. I may do it off camera and be here with the guys, but we'll get back hopefully Thursday to some shows. And Howie, we've had a great booking tonight. Right now, I've got 17 people watching us online.
That's awesome. Go like, follow, share. Not just not just on YouTube and Twitter, but also Facebook. You can find us on all those social media places. And like Randy said, me and Jeremy hopefully will have a show come Thursday night with a recap of WrestleMania. See how much our predictions actually comes true, and see if there's any shocking moments.
Hey, you know what, Howie? I'll probably be with you, but more importantly, my shoulder will be back in one place. No two more shoulders. The screw will connect the two sides of it.
Well, we're hoping to get you all in one piece at some point in our lifetime.
Yes, sir. For Howie Chaney, for Randall Cunningham, for Jeremy Johnson, off at work, enjoy your Coca-Cola product, not a sponsor, flea plug. This has been It's Still Real to Me. Enjoy your WrestleMania weekend.